Willie D Live.
I grew up in an all-black city, so it was majority black city, but my neighborhood was all black. And all black meaning everybody from working class black people, like my grandparents were there in a little 900 square foot house, raising all these children, to the richest black developer in America at one time, Herman Russell, and Dr. King's parents had lived there, and Cynthia McKinney and her father, Billy McKinney, U.S. Representatives. So all these people are here. There were just certain conversations just wasn't meant for outside their neighborhood.
Right.
Those conversations happen right there in the living room.
Right.
And past the living room, they happen in the barbershops. In the barbershops, our hair is our hair. You can go to white folk restaurant and eat. You can go to other folk places and play tennis, play golf. But when we black folk mess with our hair, we don't trust everybody with our hair. You know what I mean? So when you in the barbershop, you seeing a plethora of people from different class in our community, but they all together.
Good point.
And they get a chance to discuss things, and it's a safe space.
Yeah.
Your barber is damn near like a therapist in the problems they hear going on and the advice they give. But more than that, they like gatekeepers to what the community is really thinking. When it was time to win the election for Kasim Reed, for Keisha Lance Bottoms, even for Andre Dickens, first place I'm going to the barbershop. Let me go to barbershops and beauty shops. Let me go to where people are already talking because they know it's safe to talk in there. You'll hear a radically different conversation in the barbershop than you'll hear the nail shop. Because the nail shop ain't owned by you.
Right.
So you gonna watch kind of what you say.
Right,
When you're in the barbershop, you free, and people not taking your business outside in that capacity. So for me, owning barbershops, I understand that, we're not great clips. We're not super cuts. We're not, and we're building a chain. My wife and I with the swag shop, Shade Washington Room Shop. So we have them on the south side near the airport. We have one in State Farm Arena in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We just got funding to expand to 3 more. But I realize that our barbershops are a social center.
Yeah.
They're not just a place you go get a haircut. It isn't just the accommodation of getting beautified. It really is, on a social level, it's a golf club. On a social level, it's after you've played a few rounds of tennis, because that's where your deals get done. When you think about local politics, your local politics does not get done under the gold dome. Your local politics gets done in fraternity meetings, social clubs like tennis and golf. You always wonder why people want to learn how to play golf. Well, that's what people decide they like you. People who got the money to invest in you. You know what I'm saying? Brad Jordan was years ahead of all the rappers in playing golf. He understood this before the comedians, before the athletes started playing golf, before Michael Jordan. I heard Scarface talking about golf. Like, golf. But golf makes sense once you start getting around money. When I ask people, what sport do you think most bankers and stuff played in college? It's lacrosse. I never gave a damn about lacrosse. But when you think about it, the people who could play basketball, football, but who still wanted to be active, they gonna hang in a circle. They're gonna click. So I think our barbershop is our exclusive place to discuss business, to discuss politics, to discuss where we want to go. That's why I value owning a series of shops. Owning the franchise of shops. That's why I value coming. I go to other barbershops and not mine, still to this day. I just pop up because I want to know what's going on in the community I'm in. I want to know who are the people, what's happening there, and you're going to get honest answers there.
Yeah, you can put your hand on the pulse of the community
Absolutely.
in the barbershop.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So at the end of the day, Mike, I remember the first time the first time I was in the same room with you was back in the 2000s. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had come to Atlanta, and he called together a meeting.
My man Bear brought me. He's here with me today.
With all of the artists, yeah. And I remember you got up and you spoke that day.
Yes, sir. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, the things that came out of your mouth that day really set the tone for that entire weekend. Yeah. And I remember Minister Farrakhan looking at you, and he put his hand on his heart. He said, "This is a beautiful brother."
Absolutely.
Where does that relatable spirituality come from? And I call it relatable spirituality because it's not necessarily religious.
He loved black people. I don't argue between the Abrahamic religion. I'm not gonna get in no family arguments. All y'all are here because of Abraham. Y'all should figure that out, right?
Yes, sir.
My thing though is, man, black people are. Dr. John Henry Clark said that Africans have no friends. Everybody who's ever aligned themselves with us at the time that the advantage was for them betrayed us. And I'm not harping on everybody. I'm just saying when you look at throughout history, look at Frederick Douglass said Something is of no color, something is of no sex. Go look the quote up. What he was basically saying at the time was give men and women the right to vote right now at the same time. They didn't do that. They gave black men the right to vote. And at that time, you saw the abolitionist movement separate from the women's suffrage movement. At that time, when black men were going to vote in South Carolina and black women were standing outside with shotguns and rifles to protect them from the Ku Klux Klan, white women were so offended that black men got the opportunity to vote first, that the women's suffrage movement separated from the abolitionist movement, and next thing you know, the Daughters of Confederacy pop up. And the Daughters of Confederacy pop up, then you see Confederate monuments, then you see different teaching in school. So your ally was not your friend. Your ally was not your co-conspirator. My measure for a co-conspirator and a friend is John Brown. If you ain't willing to John Brown it with me, meaning take life and put your life on the line and be willing to die, you just an ally. And allies change after wars. Russia and America was allies.
They got a John Brown in with you, Mike?
If you got the John Brown, and otherwise I'll take an ally, but understand that after the war, we might have to do Russia and the United States because that's all I've seen. You know, Germany was kicking everybody's ass. Russia and the United States didn't even like each other. Hey, we got to figure this shit out now. This Hitler he gonna take it all if we don't. So they had to ally, but the minute the war was over, they just chopped up the world and said, this mine, but we not friends no more. So we have to understand that your ally is not forever. You know what I mean? And that don't mean that I don't like anybody. That don't mean that I can't be friends, which I encourage people to befriend people who don't look like you, who not ethnically like you, so you can find ways to intersect the cross pattern. But you have to understand that it is your duty to take care of you, yourself, your family, and your greater community.
At the end of the day, we all we got.
We all we got. We all we gonna have. We've all we've ever had. The original man and woman. That's it. You know, that's it. No matter what you call yourself. You call yourself Muslim. You call yourself Hebrew.
Right.
You call yourself a Moor.
Right.
You can say you indigenous. Whatever you call yourself.
Right.
And they probably going to call you nigga when you leave the room.
Right.
But whatever you call yourself, understand that it's just you.
Yes, sir.
So move as a unit. Move like that. I was listening to a African brother, and he was saying, you know, that the differences between African Americans and Africans that sometimes he was saying that because we were brought here and robbed of our true identity, that we didn't know. And that's not all the way true, too. Many of the brothers, I was reading about a slave that was brought here, an enslaved man that was brought here that was a Muslim. You know, so when it argues who brought Islam, was it Noble Drew Ali, was it Master Fard, Muhammad, was it, this brother was 200 years before any of them. He never stopped practicing Islam, right? But what I've realized is maybe we got here because we leaned too much into tribalism. Maybe we got here because we start seeing ourselves as I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba.
That's a good point.
And we have to understand that ultimately being robbed of our history was a wrong. But if I had to find any blessing in it, I don't differentiate between the original man and woman. Because one thing I do know, before I named myself as a part of a tribe, before I gave my God a different name or decided to worship an Orisha, what I do know is that God put us here first. The first human being. The matriarchal DNA, I'm getting the word, I'm saying it wrong. DNA is of a black woman in Eastern Africa. So my thing is, if I already know, I told people all the time, y'all be arguing about who they are online. I said, Elijah Muhammad already solved that problem for me. You're the original man and woman. Right. That's it. Whatever God put here first, that's you. And that's how I move. So no matter what you call yourself,
planet Earth.
No matter what you call yourself, I recognize that God put you here first. And we are of the same bloodline. Yes, and I respect that. So however you work, if you worship on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can come to your worship. I can be home there. I can pray with you.
Brothers and sisters.
We brothers and sisters. We here first. You know, and if we start to reinterpret our thinking, you know, maybe we can come together again and understand no matter what makes me feel good about myself. You know, in terms of what you name yourself, what chapter you belong to, what fraternity or sorority, no matter how I feel, God saw fit to make us first. And if I'm made in God's image, how can I treat you like you anything but God?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned Mutulu Shakur.
Absolutely.
May Allah be pleased with Brother Mutulu Shakur, who, for those who did not know, was a political prisoner. I want to say he did 36 years in prison. Correct me if I'm wrong. Assata Shakur, still in Cuba. Kicked out of America.
I hope they don't never get him. Never home.
Exactly. What do you think is the culture's responsibility to the political prisoners who are still incarcerated to this
Man,
day?
I was talking to a wise sister who started, $1 billion business, and black woman. She said, she gave me a challenge in my lifetime. I got to figure this out. 40 million black people in this country. I figure 20 million of them are above the poverty line. If you give me 10%, that's 2 million. Give me 5%. Give me 1 million black people. Give me $2.50 a week. Give me $10 a month. Give me that 1 million. Give me that. That's what, roughly 10 million.
Yeah,
If you can give me 100, we'll make 100 million a month. We should have a fund that takes care of our own. We should take care of our old. We should take care and build our own schools. And then it's just $10. It's just what you waste on fast food, on alcohol, meat, marijuana. I got $10 of marijuana money to give every month. But if 1 million of us do it, just 1 million, 1 million out of 40, you will have $120 million a year of a slush fund to take care of not only political prisoners, but old freedom fighters who got released. You'd have that to take care of schooling in terms of your Saturday schools. If we do that, if we just have the discipline, 1 million of us, if we have the discipline to give $10 a month, that is $120 million a year. And what can't you do with that?
Right, man. Beautiful answer. What do you hope? What are your highest hopes for the accomplishment of this album, Michael?
Man, I want to do like, in terms of personal, just, selfishly, I'm still a rapper.
Yeah.
I want all the attention and the fame and the money, all that old rapper stuff, right?
Man, we want that for you, brother.
I feel like this is a miseducation of Lauryn Hill moment. What that album was for black women, and I saw my sisters just glow. I got 5 sisters. I saw my baby mamas just glow. I saw black women glowing. I think that this record does that for black and working class men.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and I want to lead the Grammys with an arm full of trophies too. And I want to drop another one and another one. And I want to use my platform to empower people who organize it on a daily basis, like TEDS, like Georgia Youth Build in Georgia, like Gary Davis at the Next Level Boys Academy. That's it. I wanted to smoke weed, rap, go to the Blue Flight. That was my plan. God just had other plans.
Right.
He messed around. I got educated. I got illuminated on certain things. So I understand that with getting what you want from God comes with some responsibilities too.
Yeah. To
And
whom much is given, much is
my
required.
responsibility in my community is to uplift, to be a walking example of upliftment, and try my very best to uplift others by empowering the people who do the work. See, I used to be an organizer. Every week, my mind was on organizing. Now, because I got the job I wanted, God gave me the blessing of going around the globe singing and dancing, I realize I am a mobilizer. It's my job now that when an organizer calls it, this is what I'm organizing, to show up to mobilize people to come to hear.
You help to pull the parts together.
Yeah, absolutely. You come, you just serve as a caller. Hey, I'm here today. That's what later in the NCLC's existence, not later, but in the later '60s, what you got was SNCC doing the organizing. You got John Lewis, Stokely Carmichael at the time, and Kwame Ture. You had them young students fiery, in Alabama and in Georgia, South Georgia, getting people out there. And what Dr. King did when he showed up, he brought the crowd, the mobilizers. So, for me, I've understood that what I want selfishly, I want to march in the Grammys, I want to walk out. I want to go from playing 3,000 people theaters to 12, 15, 30,000 people in arenas. I want that and more. But I don't want my life to have only been about that. I would have liked to have affected greater change before I get out of here. I would have liked to have led people to a spirituality in which they see something divine in themselves, and that's people across all race and color and code. I played Charleston, South Carolina. A white boy came up to me, man. It was amazing. He had on this Braves cap. He said, "Mike, I'm just a poor white boy from the Appalachian, and I identify with every single word of that album because the worker class, no matter the color, you suffer under the same masters, and they brutal. The same people that named us nigger named crackers. It wasn't just because they whipped crackers. It was a lower standard of white people that they saw that was not beneficial to them. And they decided that they're going to annex them out too. And then when they got too friendly with us, they said, hold on. This club called white folks, we're going to open the doors, we're going to let you in, but you can't go singing and dancing with niggas no more. That happened to the Irish. That happened to the Italians. They did it to Jewish people too. They annexed all those white people out But as power consolidated in this country, they needed to identify where power would stay. Listen to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing when she talks about it. You know, people, you got to really study and prove yourself worthy. I said it was funny. I was talking to Clip doing an interview in Chicago, and I named all these things. I named Henry Ossawa Tanner. I named Of Muse and Men by Zora Neale Hurston. I named some other writers and stuff. And then I say, man, I'm just a guy sitting in front and stole some dope in his pocket, you know? And a lot of times we don't understand how much knowledge is around us and talk about resources because we see them as junkies and addicts. But man, they people who the revolution, they done fought it. They done fought it all they could, and they done got so hurt and deeply cut that they didn't have the power to keep moving on, and they're using things to pacify themselves. But you got to know that knowledge is everywhere. You know, I don't want a man that's never been broken to tell me how to repair myself. I need a man that's had to repair himself. You know, and while we doing that, we got to make sure we build strong children. Like Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men.
Yes, sir.
So the broken men that are repaired, they should be teaching those children to be strong.
Each one teach one.
You did the album, you did a record on junkies. Just kind of
Yes, called
just a little bit.
it's called Something for Junkies. And just because, you know, like Curtis Mayfield did Fred is Dead for Superfly. Junkies are people who have addictions are not respected and actually detested in our community. But why? We all have some addictions.
Right.
We all have been, usually the people I've encountered that are addicts are deeply sensitive people. Very loving people, but the world is so that they don't always have what it takes to fight it, and they succumb to that because it numbs them. But I think in the black community, the biggest mistake we made was we became slave masters. We know that car costs $30 a wash at a proper car wash, and we'll rather pay that man $15. Well, I mean, not even 15. We'd rather pay him 5 or 10 because we can get away.
Like you
with
say, pay your people a decent
Man,
wage.
what I say, man, to my J's working hard to get paid, pay them fair wage, and do not treat your people
Man,
like
go
slaves.
listen to Michael, y'all.
Yeah.
Go
All this is
listen
in
to
there.
Michael.
All this is in there.
Yeah, so much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and just great music.
Yeah.
We talked about resources in the black community.
Yeah.
I want to say to you, brother, in my humble opinion, you're a great resource.
I appreciate
to
you so
our
much.
culture, brother. Thank you so much for coming by.
I appreciate you.
Shout out to Willie D.
Shouts out to Willie D, that
Live.
OG
My
called
brother
me.
he couldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Right. I hope I did a good job, dear brother.
Great job.
Any parting words, dear brother?
Man, you can, you will, you must. You can, you will, you must.